Okay, now so let's go into Photoshop. I will choose a photo to work with, and I think this is the one I want to work with. We'll be able to do a little bit more than within Lightroom. So I choose this photo. I will right click. I will go to Edit In, and I will edit into Photoshop. So if Photoshop is not open, it will open itself. You could open it as a Smart Object as well if you want, but I go straight to this. Now I already done that, so I will go to Photoshop. This is my final image. Now a lot of contrast, lots of color, it's vibrant, it's nice. We're going to work from this, we'll bring it to this level. So just to quickly show you what I've done here, if I take everything off there, I create a base layer. I always duplicate my base layer because it's a non-destructive way to work. I work brighten the water, the land, a little bit of contrast into the land. Now the color, I'll show you how to add some nice color to your background here. The mist in this specific area here, we're going to work on that mist and the pop. Now look at that nice little pop to this picture. I'll show you it's a nice trick. So let's start from scratch. I will Command J to duplicate this layer, and I will work onto my water, so bottom all the way up. So I will create a level, and I will slide this right slider down till I am happy with the brightness of the water. Take the one in the middle, slide it towards the one on the right to create some contrast. Maybe somewhere around right here. It's actually maybe a little bit brighter. Here we go. Happy with this. What we're gonna do is we only want to apply this to the water here. So we're gonna invert this mask. I'll be doing that quite a bit here by Command I. This is how I work. There's probably a different way to do it, but with a brush, 100% opacity. A little trick for you guys to quickly change your brush. Control Alt Option key. Press both of them down with your left clicking on your mouse pad or your mouse. If you go left to right, it will change the diameter, up and down, the hardness of your brush. So I'll work about 50% or so with a smaller brush, and what I'll do is a white foreground. I will paint in the actual water that I want to work. I want to brighten. So always kind of like change the size of your brush. It's a constant need to do that. Now I don't want to paint in the water too much here, the white water here. This is a nice color already. So here we go. I added some contrast. It's a little bit more detail. Now I'm doing this very quick. Take your time whenever you do that at home. I just want to show you guys quick how to do it. For the land, we're going to brighten the land. So the land behind, just find a place where you're happy. So maybe around here. I'll do the same thing. I'll invert this mask, use the brush, and then I'll brush. I paint in my land with a white foreground. I will leave the water alone. I'm not going to touch it. The waterfall, I mean, in the water. And there we go. I don't necessarily want the background here so much to be brightened. So I'll bring my opacity down to maybe 25%. Change. I will repaint a little bit of that black. Darker, sorry, area around. So here again, so we brighten this image quite nicely. Now we're going to add a little bit of contrast into this. I'm not going to be going overboard with this, but we will take this curve adjustment, just do a little bit of an S looking to it. So just like this. This may be a little strong, so I can move the opacity down to that layer to maybe around just here. Again, I don't want it to be affecting the water, so what I can do is just revert this, and then go to my opacity at 100% and repaint the area that I want it. And I will leave the background where the mist is without too much contrast. It will be kind of like easier to work with afterwards. So I want this rock here to be painted for sure. Create like a three-dimensional feeling to the photo. and just a little bit, not too much. We can actually bump this to maybe 70%. So here we go. I'm happy with this. Now for the coloring, I will do 2 layers, empty layers. I will go and I want to add some green to my background. So what I will do here is I will choose in my color palette somewhat of a green and a lush kind of like green, not too dark, but on the darker side. And then with my paint bucket here, I will go and paint it all in. Now the magic happens when you change your blend mode to soft light overlay. You can mess around quite a bit. 100% is too much, so we go down to 0 and we just reapply to our liking, which in this case I like how it looks around maybe 10, between 20 and 10, so maybe 20 too much, 15 or so. Again, I will add a layer mask to it, so if I press the option key and press on the mask icon there, it becomes right away a black layer. So I will reveal the area that I want to bring some green into. So I will definitely not paint any green in the water. I'll leave the water as white as I can. Go. The rock here, that's not too bad. So if I look, different look already. Now I want to add a little bit of red for the leaves and the trees and the red in the background. So I'll do the same process here. I'll choose a red. So red color, red orangish color, maybe in the darker side. This paint bucket, same thing. You can try overlay if you feel like. Now it looks kind of very weird this way, but again, I'm looking to add and spark a little bit of that red into those leaves and stuff. Now remember, I'm going to repaint everything in there. So maybe 7-10%. It's too much. 8%. I'm happy with this. I'll create a black layer mask, and now with my brush, this is where the pen and the tablet, if you work, I normally work with a Wacom Intuos Pro tablet, and it make this kind of like so much easier process of painting small details like this. I would highly recommend using the tablet for that type of work. So now, as you can see, I'm just going around and around where I find some red into the picture. And if I want to, I'll bring the opacity to maybe 10%, and I'll brush in just a notch where it's a little larger area here when there's a little bit more red, and then I'll add up a little bit more color to it. So now if I look at it, subtle change, but still make quite a bit of difference. So I'm going to group this by command, take these two, hold command J, group, and then I didn't rename everything, but if you can rename your things. So if you press X and D back and forth, now your color went back to black and white. Okay, so now the next step is to mess around with the mist up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my top layer on the group here. I'm going to press Command, Option, Shift, E. So master key to create a copy of everything we've done so far. And basically I will go to my filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm only going to focus on here. So I just want to blur a little bit this area, which I'm kind of happy with this. We're going to go OK. And again, I will create a layer mask because I don't want the whole thing to be blurred. So the layer mask, I will go with my brush, opacity 100%. And I will gently go here just a touch. And I want to make sure I don't go over these branches that should be clear and not blurry. If you zoom in, you should be able to get a good good sense of what's happening here. So I do not want this to be blurred. Okay. So again, very subtle, but it'll create a misty effect to that area. And now I'll create a empty layer. This is white. We're going to create a white mist with a white foreground. We're going to paint a white dot there in the middle. I'm going to go very, very, very soft on this brush. So I'm going to go wide. I'm going to go 1 there, 2, and maybe a little bit on the edge there. And that's enough. So what I'm going to do here is I will also blur. If I go Gaussian blur with the one it's already chosen, will be the same amount. I'll be happy with that amount. I will only blur that little white part there. Bring the opacity down. Maybe just add up a little bit like that. And if you want to change this to basically screen, it's a good one. Normally to work with the light and stuff. So now we added up a little bit of mist. Now I want to be careful again and not go over these branches. So what I'm going to do here is create a mask. I will leave that one white though, or we'll go like this, and then I'm going to zoom in and just make sure that my branches are not and again do a better job at home. Just take your time. So again, create like some kind of 3D effect. So here we go. So we created our misty feel. I'm going to regroup this. Okay, sorry, just like this. We'll get the color, mist, and then the final touch for the popping to add contrast a little bit to your color. So here is a very good trick. Again, I'm going to create a master copy, Command Option Shift E. Once that's done, I will go to my channels, which I have here, RGB, press Command, press on this channel here, and then what will happen there is we'll have a selection, and with that selection you can go back to history after this if you want. What we're going to do here is we're going to press Command J to duplicate this layer, and then we're going to delete this one. We don't need it anymore. And then now we go to overlay, soft light, hard light. I kind of like these 3. Normally this is what I normally try. You can try, screen is another. You can try, it's still too light for this, but I will definitely go to either soft light or hard light. It's gonna look good to me. I look at the mist on top of the waterfall as well. I like this spread a little bit better. You're gonna bring the opacity down all the way up and find a happy medium in between. So for me, around 70%. Now look at this. This is a neat trick. It adds some contrast, and does add up a little bit to your color as well. And here it is. We're going to regroup all these together, and then create a group, and this will be a final. Before and after. It's not too far from what we had before. Quite a bit of difference. A little bit took more time. I did add up a little bit more green in color in the other version, but again, you can see how you can manage to do a lot of different things, and it's just fun to mess around anyway and see what you can produce. So basically, from this base picture to this or that, or whatever you guys come up with. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Feel free to give me some feedback, and if you guys want to see some different videos, if you have any ideas, just let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.